Hello, everybody, and welcome. Merry Christmas. Add a little extra in because I'm excited. There is so much going on. This, as you well and truly know, is NBL Overtime. As you can see on the screen, that's how you get in contact with us. Hashtag NBL Overtime right around the nation. Basketball each and every day. History made. And absolutely no idea what's going to happen over the next 6 or so weeks. Homicide in the house, up front. Are you taking a holiday from up front? You got a week off?
We got about 1 or 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
But we're going to come back hot and heavy January 9th.
See, the bosses of up front are nicer than the bosses of NBL Overtime. We work on through. And Liam Santamaria in the house. Merry Christmas to you.
You too, mate. You too. I like that. It'll give us a little ho, ho, ho.
Ho, 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 ho.
Keep that same energy.
Tell you what, I'm getting closer to Santa Claus every Christmas we roll around. But the excitement is really at a whole new level because this thing is going from bigger and bigger and bigger. We've got, of course, the 12 festive days of Christmas hoops. We're smack bang in the middle of it. And the basketball is so damn good. We have no idea who's going to win. Last night was a perfect example of that. Brisbane were outstanding. Overtime again. We had the open air game. We had Christmas Day. History made in Australian sport. Have a look at some of these scenes.
Unbelievable.
None better around the country than Santa Maria.
Incredible. It's a beautiful thing. These 12 days of Christmas, that was the open air game. Here comes Santa Claus. He's coming to town, and the Sydney Kings, Melbourne United, the NBL make history. The Grinch has been involved in Adelaide, and the games have been terrific. We have Boxing Day. We have basically every single day across the Christmas period, and some really big games and big results. Melbourne United, Radon Tucker's playing at a really high level. Adelaide are coming. And, Tasmania, we saw them just before Xavier Cooks on Christmas Day really brought the cheer for the Sydney Kings fans. And that was a really, really big win for the Jack Jumpers against the Breakers. So it has been elite level basketball in recent times.
I agree. Every game was very, very enjoyable to watch. Xavier Cooks is back.
You're back? Well,
He is back. And
far.
look, I know. Look, I'm very excited, like everybody else is, where the NBL is at, especially last round has been fantastic. I think that may have been the best round of NBL 23.
I tell you what, this man, not many plays the villain better than this guy. And we watched the last quarter.
What?
Well, back in the day, of course, when you rolled into Perth and you're showing the thing, and it's great. It's great for the league. I'm not at all diminishing what you do. You and I watched the last quarter of the Cairns Taipans Melbourne United game, and the United fans somehow were just probably thinking some of those comments you'd made around the team earlier in the year. It was great. I'd forgotten how great the open air game was. Mate, he had like 8 or 9 people around him.
Really? Really?
It was fun.
I
It was fun.
walked into this venue, went to the open air, right, Nick and I, and we started sitting on the corporate box we were in, and then we ended up courtside, right? So I'm there, and I'm talking about everywhere I went in this arena, the side eyes I was getting.
Oh, side eyes.
At least they watch what's going on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are loyal, passionate fans, So it was very, very, I'm talking from kids.
Kids. I actually seen,
Liam.
I seen a 7-year-old in a Looney Tunes CG43 jersey give a mouthful of homicide.
Really?
And it made my Christmas. It made my
So where's the love for our team?
From kids to like owners of the league. Owners
from a 7-year-old to the owner and
Dude.
everyone in between.
Wow. It was nuts. I haven't been in the building in a while. It was great for them to actually get the win.
Yep.
And look, it was beautiful.
So,
that
of
open
course,
air.
the last time you and I were side by side in that arena was a few years ago, and ironically, you were against the Wildcats when they won the championship, and you ducked out a couple of minutes later.
I told you what I had
your
to do.
phone, and
My
his phone died.
Right,
His
okay.
phone
I had to
died
go
for
to
3
the
days.
Yeah.
It's all going on. Hey, there's so much going on, not just December and right through Christmas, but this is the time of the year that the competition's really heating up. So we're going to do a like and a dislike about what we have really seen around the festive period. I'm going to start.
Go ahead. What have you
I'm going to start. I'm loving the MVP race, and I know you're pushing it, and we spoke about it last week. I can't remember legitimately the last time we got this part of an NBL season, and you can have an argument for 4 players: Cooks, Creek, Pinder, and Cotton. Legitimately, in the past, and sometimes that has been the excellence of a certain player or two that has been dominant in the MVP race. This year, you're going to have 4 different people sitting around a table and giving a very good idea as to why a particular player should be the MVP. I'm loving the MVP race. 4 players, and I think that's what basketball's about.
Who do you currently have in front?
Xavier Cooks.
Above Creek.
Above Creek, but let's see how Southeast Melbourne Phoenix go, because what Creek did on Saturday night with a very undermanned Southeast Melbourne Phoenix team was amazing. We'll get to that a little later in the show.
You got Cooks back in front?
I got Creek. I just feel like, just think about the last 3 games, right? Obviously, he had that huge game, right? 46 and 10. Then he backed that up with 30 and 5, and then undermanned. And then he backed that up with the 24 piece, severely undermanned in Adelaide. And I think all he has to do for me, hold court and just be average all the way out. Just hit his numbers all the way out.
But Cooks is back in the All-League.
Cooks is back in the All-League team. I think that it's week by week. It's not etched in stone. It's a half a season left. A little less than half a season left. So if you play different, I talk different, and the positions will change.
And I think that sort of plays to the point of which I'm making. Twofold here. One, who have you got MVP?
I've got Creek just ahead of Cooks.
Yeah. Okay. Beautifully done.
Yeah. Now you talk about how close the MVP race is. I'm liking how close the whole season is.
Oh, correct.
The playoff race and all 3 of the races, the top 2. Trying to make sure that you're in that mix, because we know that that's going to be huge this season, to make the top 4 so that you're in a better position in the wildcard games and the Kamloops wildcard games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, to try to make that play-in tournament as well. It's so tight. If you look at just like on the ladder, just the wins, I mean, I prefer to look at the losses, but if you look at the wins, everyone's basically on like 9 or 8 wins right now. And if you have a slip up, like Perth just did against Brisbane, it's a massive opportunity missed. So I'm loving how close all of that is right now.
We're going to deep dive that. We're going to deep dive that in around 10 minutes' time and have a look about the ramifications about where you need to finish, have a crack at being the champion. Who you got?
As far as what?
You like something?
Oh, my likes. There's too many
My apology.
likes that I had to pick one.
So you got one though, right?
My favorite game is open air. Yeah. It's just a beautiful spectacle. And to be in there, it looks beautiful on television. I'm sure it's great to call. But to be in that building, especially when there's a great game happening and it's close, as it was Melbourne versus Cairns, the energy in that building was electric.
Did you play in one?
No.
Did you?
No, but I did have a Facebook kind of memory pop up the other day of you and I calling open air in the arena. So when you combine the 2, that's an even better result.
Did they not have it the year that you played?
I don't think it ended up happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bit of rain about.
Yeah. I certainly didn't get on if it did.
No, well, hey, you know what? You warm up, that counts.
Okay.
That's what I was going with. I thought you might have been there.
I love Christmas.
Yeah, you do?
That was beautiful. I know we probably talk about it a little bit. I don't know if we'll talk about it later, but
now.
Man, we can do whatever
I like
we want.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas was fantastic.
You like Christmas just in general
The
as
Christmas
a thing?
basketball.
I'll be honest, I thought you were legitimately talking...
Finally, we agree.
I thought you were talking December 25 specifically.
I like
The
Christmas.
Christmas game, man. I think like that's here to stay.
Yeah,
Those
agree.
numbers show it, and it's only going to get better. And if you missed it, sorry you missed it, but they'll be next year and becoming bigger and better.
I went up for the game.
I love Xavier Cooks.
I went up for the game. I'll
Performance
tell you
on
this.
Christmas.
I'll tell you this.
Wow.
It was great.
And I love Ray John Tucker's performance the last few games.
Stood up, hold that Tucker.
But go ahead, sorry,
we'll
cut
get
you
to
off.
that.
You
No, I want
got
to
it.
get to yes or no, and Tucker, 3 of my questions already been answered, so I'm going to, on the fly, come up with some new ones.
Yeah.
I went to the game. It was cool.
the
7,000 in the place. Sydney, Melbourne,
were you
everyone
sitting?
on and off the court. It's courtside.
Okay.
Next to
Damn, yo, you get money, man.
No, hold on. Who'd you sit with?
I got upgraded. Someone was away ill.
Who was away?
I think the CEO of Sydney was sick, so...
So on one side was Paul Smith.
Yeah.
And on the other side was Andrew Bogut.
No, on the other side, it was Smith, Andrew Bogut, and then I had a Melbourne United owner on the other side.
Okay.
But it was
You're
good.
big boys.
Okay.
It was great.
Man,
what I will
you get
say...
money, bro.
You getting into ownership?
No,
What are
I
you
got
doing here?
upgraded. Well, you know what? It was my idea, so I should have been sitting courtside, which is hence why I was there. But what I will say about this, and a huge success, like, you can't argue it, it's here to stay. And the talk is now about a double header and all the rest of it.
Yes.
The number one thing that needs to be done is to make sure that Channel 10 are 100% locked in. You don't do a double header and not have it on free-to-air. Like, if they're like, hey, we can only do one game, that's what you do. I know people don't like being dictated to by the broadcasters, but there's no use having a double header if it's not a made-for-TV. That's exactly what it's a made-for-TV product. If we have a double header, great. If Channel 10 are like, hey, you know what? We're having 4 straight hours of this bad
numbers, the viewership numbers.
Huge. It'd be ridiculous
Outrageous.
if they said no.
Who would you want to play? Like, what teams would you want to play?
You know what I wouldn't mind next year is just like 2 rivalry matchups.
Yeah.
The 2 local derbies in Victoria and New South Wales.
Another throwdown coming up.
Hey.
Open the roof, baby.
Hey.
Open the roof for Christmas.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, oh, hello. Jeez.
Listen,
Look at your
that's
eyes.
special.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you like Christmas?
Yeah.
You like Christmas, you like basketball, you like open
What do
air,
you
combine the
dislike?
3, away we go. I dislike, and I'm not going to be on this for long, I just dislike New Zealand's bad luck. They've had all this 2 years in Australia, haven't been able to get momentum. They've been great. They've got the momentum. They're on fire. They're playing well. They fell on top of the ladder when they had COVID, and now we've got to really just scream a lot of games in January for them when they're... Now, it may well work for them because you find momentum this time of year, you can ride it all the way to a championship. So they're a good team, so it's not like it's going to be a death knell to their chances to compete late in the season, but it sucks. It sucks seeing this team be absolutely belted again after all they've been through. So that's my dislike.
Yeah. All right, my dislike is Southeast Melbourne's injury toll right now. Now, everyone's got some injuries. Like with New Zealand, you talk about them, they roll in without Will McDowell-White, really important piece to their puzzle. But I was talking before about how tight all those races are. The race for top 2 was about to really heat up because the Phoenix were rolling and then broke off, and Brown and Joe Chi, and now Alan Williams is sitting out games. So that has kind of put them back behind the 8 ball. They dropped the game in Adelaide, played really with good heart and effort, but couldn't get over that line. And I just feel like that could potentially stop them getting top 2, which we may look back and say that was the difference to them, maybe even making a grand final or winning a championship. So a whole bunch of injuries at a bad time of the year.
My dislike is, as tight as the race is, in NBL 23 period, Keanu Penda having a bad 2 games in the last round. First game, obviously, they started doubling him. That's a sign of respect, right? But they lost both games and he underperformed, and he's a bit banged up. He got banged up a bit in the first quarter, early in the first against Melbourne United. So I wish that he didn't get banged up because obviously it hurts his position right now. So plenty of basketball left.
Wait
so
that
good
angle,
luck.
really.
It's an interesting one, the Pinder stuff, because they're doing 2 things, the defense. They're doubling him on the post catches, and they're staying at home on him as the roll man. So Shannon Scott and Tajir McCall, these guys are starting to, get numbers because they're coming off, they can get to the rim or make plays. But it's slowing down Pinder. And I think everyone's looking at it and go, you know what, if we slow down Pinder,
We can win.
we beat the Taipans.
Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. It's this time of the year in this particular show that, to be honest, Santa's watching is the most relevant of the year. I can't wait to play the sting.
Roll the stinger, let's go. There it is. Hey, we're going to start with Melbourne United in the open air game. Marcus Lee, the big dunk, and has a salute.
Love it.
He looks up to the top section, up into the sky, and salutes. I like that. Tajir McCall, tough shot maker.
Yes.
Loves the half-court Hail Marys. Less confident and comfortable at the free throw line.
That's the wind, man. That's the wind.
Is that the wind?
He knows. He's looking at it. It's the wind. It's the wind.
All right.
There it is. It takes it there.
Oh, my goodness.
What about Joshua Jett? He's got the layup and then decides to do that.
Goodness. What was that?
What are you doing?
Trying to lead the league in assists.
It's not happy.
2-1.
Scott Roth. What's Scott Roth on the boat? Look at the energy from Scott Roth. I like the little leg kick out. And look at here's the Crown Princess. She's even got a regal technique to the clapper.
Yep.
If you don't mind.
Royalty in the building.
Adam Ford, meanwhile, watch him in the background. That's athletic. Real Torval and Dean sort of style.
Someone's been hitting the squats in far north Queensland.
And then the frustration is getting to him, so it's like, serenity now. Serenity now. for Adam Ford.
Woosha.
Meanwhile, for Kyle Adnam, there go the Nugs. Bam. Good hustle. That's hustle at $1 million a year right there. And the Nugs are gone. But don't worry. Don't worry. There's the replacement.
Good. That quick.
They just stuff
Replacement's
those
there.
puppies in.
What's this from Jesse Wagstaff, Corey? What's the
What is that?
What are we doing
I
there?
thought Mitchell got a hand to that for banking out of court.
Could you believe that shot gave away Bergen?
Yeah, I know.
Look at the shock on the Brisbane fans. I can't believe
I
it.
actually had more shock later in the game when he missed one as well.
He missed 4 freebies.
He missed 2 straight late as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
Geez,
that's got to be the first time Bryce Cotton's ever given away Bergen.
I actually,
definitely be the last.
on the back of that, I started thinking we should do a deep dive on NBL Overtime, or by that I mean myself, the players who haven't yet given burgers away yet, because there would be a
There
couple,
might be none left after that one.
possibly. No, hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. We hope you are enjoying the burgers that Bryce Cotton, for the first time surely in his career, provided last night. Quick break. We're going to break down the second half of the season next. Wherever you might be, this is NBL Overtime. Liam Santamaria to my right, Homicide to my left. And I'm Cam Luke. Hashtag NBL Overtime. There you go. That's how you get involved with us. Now, of course, we are just through Christmas. We've got the festive games. We've got games pretty much each and every night as we work into the new year. Then we're on the downhill slope and things are going to get crazy and chaotic and shambolic and honestly, intense and exciting. And I cannot wait for it, as I'm sure you can't as well. So what we're going to try and do is try and half break down what the bloody hell is going to happen. And the fact is we have got wildcard games. Of course, we've got the Da Vinci playoff system this year, and by that, you have to be a lot smarter than me to work it out.
Wow.
But it's exciting, and it means more exciting games in January to the end of the season. Let's have a look at this ladder, because it is interesting. Top 2 get the week off, of course, to kickstart the weekend, and there's the wildcard games 3 to 6. Melbourne, Brisbane and Illawarra. Are we all agreeing postseason? No?
Nah,
Okay.
that's it. The United fans won't be happy that they're shaded out already. They probably still feel like they've got a heartbeat, but
It's over. It's over.
it's over.
So
Traditionally, when you hear a mathematical chance to make the
It doesn't happen.
playoffs,
So-
it traditionally means they can't make it.
Okay.
All right, so let's say 7 does not go into 6, as we
No.
can see there as well. And there's so much. You know, the Perth Wildcats lose last night. They'll rue that one, you'd think. Adelaide just bring in Ian Clark.
Yep.
Jack Jumpers were great, beating the Breakers a couple of nights ago. I want to start with the Cairns Taipans, because watching them last week and getting manhandled by Perth, and then Melbourne manhandling them for most of the game, although they gave themselves an opportunity to win it later, or at least send it into overtime, had me a little nervous. I was trying to work out the ramifications. Then I looked at their schedule going forward. Have a look at this, because Cairns Taipans are in a situation where they can get on a run and end up in the top 2 and give a chance to win a championship.
No, that's not happening.
But if they drop a game or 2, they shouldn't. Right.
You think they're a bit shaky, but you like their
I like
run.
their run. Just on the cold heart of day, when I was thinking about a team based on form, I was a little nervous about Cairns until I went to a little deep dive. Have a look at this. Oh, look, that Adelaide game's going to be huge. 2 teams that are right there. If Cairns can hold home court against Adelaide, we'll see Ian Clark, of course, grace the court. Illawarra, who have been playing a little bit better, but you know that's a game that a team who want to be deep in the playoffs should win.
they should go 4-1.
They should. Having a look at that, Southeast Melbourne Phoenix are very undermanned. The next game is going to be interesting, because Cairns dropped a couple that they probably shouldn't against a team that could traditionally own them. But I look at Cairns and being like, all right, if they don't drop these games they shouldn't, they can garner momentum to have a
4-1.
legitimate crack to stay out of the wild card games, which you don't want to be in elimination and have to be fighting and scrapping your way just to get to a semi-final series, while the 2 best teams in the league sit at the top just with their heads up, just relaxing, their head, feet up, relaxing, right? So if they get momentum, they could be hard to beat. They lose 1 or 2 and be a little disappointing like they were last week, they could go the other way.
Right. So they're
love
the
this.
team within that whole 7 that you've got like a big question mark over at the moment. Is that fair to say?
Yes, but they're not the team that I think will end up missing.
Oh, who's that?
I think Adelaide will end up missing.
Really?
Which I can't believe I'm saying it.
They're finding a bit of momentum.
They're finding momentum. They won on Saturday night. They got Ian Clark to come in. I know they've won 3 in a row. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix had a chance to win a game with Mitch Creek as their really main guy, right? I just think the body of work in the first half of the year might set a couple of these teams up, and I think Cairns are going to be okay. Although I was a little nervous over the weekend for them.
Perth Wildcats, I said it last week. I'll say it again. They're missing out. You need to see the games that they have left. Oh my God. They got Sydney twice, New Zealand twice.
Right. Okay. Tough sketch.
Well,
Listen, hard. Hard.
we
I
go-
opened this thing up this morning. I'm like, they lost them. That was a game they should have won yesterday.
Absolutely.
We all know.
Yeah.
They dropped that. It changes, as you know. It's like double points. And in the situation that they're already in,
You know what I'll say?
Adelaide
though?
upgraded. Adelaide up. Yo, can you imagine
Bryce
two
Cotton?
consecutive
Yeah,
years?
I think Perth.
Two consecutive years,
I don't
Liam?
think Perth can win the championship. I think they'll make the 6. What I will say, though, they lost one last night that they had their chances to win when they probably shouldn't have had their chances to win because they were getting belted halfway through the 4th. They won a game they shouldn't have won 2 weeks ago when Melbourne United had them on the rope. So
True.
it sort of balanced it out a bit. What do you got for me?
Oh, man. I find it hard to bet against Bryce Cotton.
I'm with you.
So I feel like when push comes to shove, he's going to get them enough games to get him in the 6. I will say, though, Brady Manick, where are you at?
I ain't seen him since he
this
had a
is-
couple
No,
games.
because
That's it.
they need Brady Manick.
This is the conversation we had a month ago. man.
And for a while, he was really good.
Was he?
And they were he
A
was,
while?
Yeah.
A while?
For a number of games,
I'll-
he was good.
I'll give you 3. Max?
And they won some games, and they look like who they wanted to be when they put that team together. And last night, he just couldn't get going, and he was a total non-factor. So that's an issue.
No Travers in overtime.
I
as well.
find it hard. I'm going to bet on Antonius Cleveland in particular.
100%.
That is a guy who just decides halfway through games, you know what?
Taking it over.
No, we're winning this game. I'm locking up. I'm getting deflections. I'm out in transition, windmill dunks, getting the crowd and his team amp, and they get up in those games. And he did that last season with Illawarra when the season
Changed their season.
He changed their season all league. I think he's the one that's going to fire this Adelaide team and get them into the mix. But I hear you about Cairns. That's why I put Tassie in the top 4, because I don't have that guy at Cairns, 40 maybe, but on the floor who I just believe in that same kind of way.
Hold that thought. We'll get to a break. I want you to give the most important games we're going to see in the next little while leading to the playoffs. NBL Overtime, plenty more next.
Wants it, Creek gets it, makes room for the triple and knocks it down. Big finish to the opening quarter from the southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
Underneath on the reverse, that's classy.
Start this second.
Rock off for Creek.
Round for Creek. Got cooked up in the air. Creek and 1. Clock at 10. Creek pulls up. Bang! Creek walks into a 3. Oh yeah! Mitch Creek strapping the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix to his back.
There we go, the 2K23 Spotlight Player of the Month, Mitch Creek. No real surprise, he's carrying this Southeast Melbourne Phoenix team on his back. And of course, if you or your kids or your partner or me enjoy video games, NBA 2K23 is a must to have this holiday season, so make sure you get involved. All right, you and I, we're talking about it. Homicide giving his things about the Wildcats. I want you to tell me the biggest 5 games on the way, man. What do you got coming?
Some really big games coming up. Double point games already as we tick out towards New Year's Eve. All those teams from 2nd through to 7th when they play each other in the next little while. And we've got a bunch of them. Look at them right there. Now, there's danger games as well when you play Brisbane or you play Illawarra and the like. But when these teams play each other in the next little while, double points essentially on the line. Massive games coming up.
You not only just want to make the playoffs and be in the wildcard game, but you want to try and get to that top 2 so you don't have to play any elimination games before you get to that best of 3 game series. There's a lot going on. I see Adelaide in there a few times. They have an opportunity. The best thing about this is, and we spoke about this in the past, the best thing about the wildcard games is the games matter earlier and then longer. So the next thing you know, the playoff intensity goes through the roof, and we've only got one more open air game, of course, for the rest of the year. You know what? Let's leave yes or no, and I'll ramp it up next. You want me to squeeze it in?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll squeeze a couple of short ones in if I can find it. Now I can't really find it.
They're over here.
There we go. You ready for this?
Yes.
Was Saturday night the most impressive game of the year for Southeast Melbourne Phoenix?
No.
Will Xavier Cooks be playing for the Sydney Kings next season?
Yes.
Is Perth somewhat hamstrung by Bryce Cotton's salary?
No.
Is the NBL Open Air game the most spectacular in world basketball?
Yep.
Will we ever see Paddy Mills play in the NBL again?
Yes.
Ben Simmons and the Boomers next year?
Olympics.
There you go. We're getting out of here. Thank you.
Happy New Year.